Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fifth race of the SSRi Simsport Racing International GT4 Season 3. Welcome to Snetterton, Norfolk, and the fifth round of the season from one of the UK's most well-known circuits. Much like Silverstone, the 4.779 kilometre Snetterton 300 layout sees drivers use tracks formerly runways for the RAF airfield base used in the Second World War. The technical infield layout, nicknamed the 300 layout, first saw action in 2011, and it's played host to British GT, touring cars and 24-hour Citroën 2CV racing throughout its history. I'm Tim Fulbrick, your lead commentator. I'm delighted to be joined once again by Steve Proudley, and for the first time I'd very much like to welcome to the SSRi commentary booth a certain Chris Hill. Chris, like me, you're very well positioned to comment on everyone else's sim racing, but welcome to the booth. Snetterton, one of your favourites?
Right, well, hold on a minute. You didn't tell me we were going live. Oh, right, I suppose I better start talking. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the introduction, Tim. Snetterton, I'll be honest, I've never driven around it and don't know it that well, so I'm going to learn it tonight.
Well, unfortunately, if elevation change is something you look for in a circuit, that's something Snetterton lacks. As like we said, it's a particularly flat circuit, but Steve Proudley, it's technical, it's twisty, and it often leads to some great racing.
Yeah, absolutely it does. The drivers have got to be very, very careful with Snetterton, haven't they? I mean, there's a couple of corners with some nasty curbs, and we know these GT4 cars can suffer with punctures, pressure loss at the very least, which can affect the race and can actually mean that these guys have to do a pit stop when tonight there is no mandatory pit stop, so it could potentially wreck the race. But it's a good circuit. These GT4 cars will bring some close racing tonight. The championship so far has been close. We've had some fantastic racing. Aaron Martin Pilkington shining out at the moment, but yeah, I don't think Sem didn't make it easy for him last time, and towards the end of Hungaroring when Sem got his penalty, I think there was a lot of people were absolutely gutted by that penalty for track limits. He certainly deserved a podium, and in Aaron Martin Pilkington's words, he thought Sem deserved the win. So yeah, let's have some more of that this evening, please.
Well, on the verge of the halfway point of the season, a quick look at the championship standings. In the overall championship, Aaron Martin Pilkington leads the way, courtesy of 3 victories this season on 190 points. He leads Bart Sverink, who has put together a hat-trick of consecutive second-place finishes, both races at Bathurst and indeed the previous round at the Hungaroring. And in third is Danny de Swart, at 20 points back from Bart Sverink, 165 and 145 apiece. And then in the AM Championship, it's James Lyke who leads the way. The rookie to this championship this season has 162 points to his name, courtesy of 3 back-to-back AM class victories. The Mercedes driver has got somewhat of a stranglehold on the championship ahead of Bas van Mellis, the Porsche Cayman driver, with 136 points to his name. Is looking to return back to the podium in the category after a 12th and 9th place finishes at Alton Park and race 1 at Bathurst, and then 3rd place in the standings, 127 points. Colin Hines, who will be looking to bounce back and prove his mettle after a Alton Park class victory. So the drivers are out on track at the moment, currently setting their first qualifying times, if that. And last time out at the Hungaroring, it was a close run race, as Steve Proudley alludes to there. It's taking another turn though in this championship. Aaron Martin Pilkington winning as his rival Sem Spenkelink receives a drive-through penalty in the final few minutes. And as mentioned, Bart Sverink picked up his 3rd second-place finish in a row as Andreas Garlin made his first appearance on the virtual podium this season, and that's a name we've definitely seen towards the top of the timesheets throughout the championship so far, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Andreas making a move to the virtual rostrum again this evening. So qualifying has been green for 7.5 minutes now. We are coming towards the midpoint of this 20-minute session. Aaron Martin Pilkington just setting the fastest lap on his previous tour of the Snetterton circuit. He currently leads the way from Peter Vernier, Jordi Bakker 3rd, with Danny de Swart and Sem Spenkelink rounding out your top 5, as Xander Vale in P6 currently in pit lane, and shortly will be heading out in an attempt to better his time. On screen at the moment, Dimitri Schenk, currently 2nd fastest of our AM drivers. If you look on the left-hand side of your screen, in the timing tower, this brand spanking new timing tower, I must say, the numbers which are in a very bright red or white indicates which category they're in. White shows the overall championship, and those in red are in the AM category. But of course, they can still get involved and in the fighting. You can see themselves finish on the overall podium, but of course, they are fighting for their own individual championship. Now, Chris, qualifying, it is important in this championship. You do want to obviously get as high up the grid as you can in these races, but from your experience, so much happens even in the opening lap that sometimes it doesn't mean everything.
Absolutely, and that's where I got the middle nickname. I tend to capitalise myself on people going off left, right and centre and jump up a few places, which I'm sure will happen in this race on such a short, small circuit.
Qualifying 20 minutes. There is time to have a couple of stabs at it, isn't there? What was your strategy for qualifying? Did you like to just head out and keep lapping and hoping that the time comes and maybe you find something out there as fuel wears off, or did you like to split it in half, maybe split it into 2 or 3 runs? What was your general approach to these 20-minute sessions?
I've never been very good at qualifying. I'm not a fast driver, as everybody will attest to. And certainly when you've been commentated on the GT3s, I'm always at the back. So depending on how well I've done in practice and how confident I feel, sometimes I go out and just fill the car up with the race setup rather than a qualifying setup, and just plod around and try and get a good lap that way. But where I have felt confident, I have done a short fuel load, done 3 or 4 laps, come back to the pits and tried again. But sometimes it's very difficult to get space on the circuit in between other cars. Picking that spot is crucial to some qualifying sessions.
Absolutely, with 26 drivers out on track this evening at Snetterton, space is certainly at a premium. Good evening as well to everyone who's watching along. Mark Noislings has joined the chat, as well as Dave Jr. Thank you very much for dropping by. Let us know who you think is going to take victory in the race this evening. Let us know your thoughts on any instance and action taking place out there on track, and it'd be great to have you guys involved with the racing action here in this GT4 event from Snetterton. So as the clock ticks over, we are into the second half of the qualifying session. Aaron Martin Pilkington currently holds pole position by a very slender 0.08 of a second over Danny de Swart in the number 57 Mercedes. Then, the top 3 separated by just over a tenth is Bart Sverink in 3rd place. Then we're seeing Peter Vernier in 4th, ahead of Jordi Bakker, Sem Spenkling, Dennis Verkman, Xander Vale, Bas van Mellis and Tim Kroll rounding out your top 10 at the moment. And those top 10 positions separated by 7.5 tenths. So it's very close indeed, and an improvement of a couple of tenths of a second will see you shoot up the standing, something we've seen all season so far, and something I'm certain we will see for the rest of the season to come. As rounding the final corner, Coram into the tight left-hander that rounds out the lap at Murray's. This is the number 39 Ginetto on screen at the moment, heading up towards the first corner at Riches. And across the line, it's Stefan Arvidsson, who's in 9th place now, so an improvement from him on that previous lap. Sees the black and red Ginetta jump inside the top 10. So here we have the Audi of Frank Hopp, the number 570. Inside the top 15 at the moment, but looking to find time. As we can see on the left-hand side of the screen, he is about half a second up on his best lap. And if he can keep it together and set this time, he could find himself jumping in towards the fight for the top 10 positions. Let's see as he rounds the long right-hander at Coram and into Murray. So difficult to get the car stopped and turned left, clatters the curb on the inside and uses all of the available curb and a matting on the outside of the final corner, and a run up to the line, foot flat to the floor. You get the feeling he's lost further time, and he does improve on that lap, but unfortunately it's not enough to see him improve his position. He's still 14th, 1.122 seconds off the fastest time so far this session. And it's here on screen at the moment, Denise Pope, who is just pulling off to the side of the track, P20 at the moment, seemingly looking for more in the remaining 7 minutes of this session. Aaron Martin Pilkington flying through the chicane there at Brundle and Nelson and in towards the bomb hole, the flat out right hander. Use the camber to throw yourself through. And his fastest time, 1:56.2. Judging by the delta, he's very close to improving that. In fact, he's matching his best time as he comes into the final corner at Murray. Says he's found time, yes, 0.03 of a second. It's just hovering on the margin of 0.04 of a second, and in fact improving as he keeps the power flat to the line. Sorry, this is Bart Sverink, actually, the number 12.
I didn't want to disturb you. You were going so well.
Yeah, I thought, that's a great rhythm I'm in right there. Shame that I can't get the cars right. That's what 1 week away does for you. Anyway, Bart Sverink doesn't improve, but is now improving as he heads into the first sector on his lap. Now, the BMW, Chris, is this a car you've driven? What do you think? It seems to be pretty handy in the hands of Aaron Martin Pilkington and Bart Sverink. It seems to have the pace over his competitors.
You're asking the wrong person. I've ever driven a GT4.
Really? I did not know that, not at all.
No, I do apologise.
Never pick up any casual races or fun racing the GT4s, or just a bit too scared?
A bit too scared. I don't like the competition. I'd rather be at the back. Which is probably perfect for me thinking about it now. Just reacting to people in the chat. My teammate Joris says Sem Spenkel will win. I've got to say hello to Bassie's mum. She's on the chat saying that she likes the new layout. Quite a few people.
Definitely, Aaron as well, dropping in the chat, Mr. Jedi in the commentary booth. So high praise indeed to already have the nickname being wielded.
Very nice.
It's good to have you here, Chris, and maybe, hopefully, after seeing the action tonight, you might go and try a GT4 car. I don't know. I personally am a big advocate for these cars, this category. It's a lot of fun.
I might give it a whirl.
Well, we'll try.
Might as well be bad in this category as well as the other one.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, the 26 drivers out on track might convince you to go and give it a whirl. A driver certainly giving it a whirl at the moment is that's Bas van Mellis, but he's being rather distracted off course there as he comes into Nelson as the Mercedes in front skips across the grass, and all the time that Van Mellis had gained on that lap has gone disappearing away in the blink of an eye. 4 minutes and 20 seconds still on the clock as he comes in to the final corner at Murray's. He's got plenty of time still to set a lap, so hopefully he can find time. Currently in P11, an improvement of a couple of tenths will see him jump up to P9 ahead of Stefan Arvidsson, who's currently the fastest AM category driver in P9 with a 1 minute 56.805. There's a bit of a leap forward though. Aaron Martin Pilkington still tops the standing for the 1:56.1, and as Bas van Mellis runs slightly wide there on the exit of Riches, he might not only have lost himself time, but he could have invalidated the lap as he heads into the hairpin, the Montreal hairpin, being chased hard by one of these the BMWs that we have on our grid. As Van Mellis heads into the fast left-hander at Palmer. On board with Pilkington, who's looking just to maybe have someone in his sights to chase and maybe use the slipstream to find time. In fact, it looks like Aaron has decided to back off on the run between Palmer and the tight left-hand hairpin Agostini, potentially just to find himself some more space to play with and some clear air to hopefully improve his pole position time even further and set himself a harder target to beat for Danny Desfort, who's currently in P2 with a 1:56.292. A very, very slender gap of just less than a tenth, 96 thousandths of a second between the top two, heading into the final 3 minutes of the session. Then it's Bart Sverink, Peter Vernier, Jordi Bakker, Sem Spenkelink, Dennis Berkman, Zander Vale, Stefan Arvidsson and Tim Krul, your top 10. With the drivers improving, Jordi Bakker looks like he's found time on this lap as well as Dennis Berkman. But there's this man on screen, Bas van Mellis, who's certainly giving it everything in an attempt to improve his time, but unfortunately it looks like on that lap as well he's a second down, so plenty of time still to be found, but it looks like Baz could be struggling just to replicate his previous best lap of 1:56.928. So on screen at the moment, this is Jordi Bakker in the 99 Aston Martin, the gold and blue liveried Vantage, heading down towards the tight left-handed hairpin Agostini. Chris, are you making a note of the corner names?
Yes, you've got Agostini.
Correct.
Murray's.
Correct. Which one is Murray's?
It's the last corner.
Very good.
You're a hard man, Tim. You're a hard man.
Just seeing if he's noting them down. I'm just kidding. Anyway, on screen at the moment, this is the number 12 of Bart Sverink, and he's finding time and finding plenty of it. He's over a tenth up on his fastest lap. In fact, just losing a little bit of time on the exit of Agostini and through the left-hander at Hamilton, and in towards the best corner name on the circuit, Oggies, through the right-hander at turn 6. This leads you up to the turn 7, Williams, and onto the back straight, the Bentley straight. foot flat to the floor as soon as possible through the long right-hander. Bart Sverring now 2/10 up on his time. And if he can hold that through the final sector, that will see him take pole position, snatch it at the death from Aaron Martin Pilkington. So let's keep with the driver of the number 12 BMW as he flies in through Brundle and Nelson. Skips over the curb, but doesn't dislodge himself too much. He's still got those 2/10 in hand through the bomb hole, flat out as quick as he can go, riding all the curb on the exit and into this long right-hander at Coram, 180 degrees of turning. Into the final corner at Murray's. He looks all kicking the tail out slightly there under the brake, and that's cost him as he slides wide on the exit of the final corner, and he's not going to improve. But speaking of improving, Xander Vale jumps to top spot in the number 808, a 1 minute 56.043. Xander Vale currently holds on to top spot as Aaron Martin Pilkington, championship leader, spins on the exit of Nelson and on the run up towards the bomb hole. So he's spun round, and it looks like he might run out of time to get to the line and improve. So Vale snatches pole at the death. Bart Sverring didn't jump up the standings. Danny de Sport stays in third. Sverring on screen in P4, but not finding time in that first sector as a number of drivers head to pit lane. They're accepting their fate. Out on track at the moment, Sverring is not improving, but he's in P4 for now. Dimitri Schenk further down the order in P13 looks to have found nearly 2/10 of a second in his efforts to take the AM category pole position. He'll need to find a little over 3/10 if he's to jump ahead of Stefan Arvidsson in P9. And the Mercedes driver certainly giving it everything as he heads in towards Agostini on this final lap. Timer has hit 0, so drivers who are on their lap will be able to complete it. He won't be able to start a new one as he runs towards the left-hander at Hamilton. Car looking in pretty decent nick at the moment, in towards Oggy's, fairly controlled under the brakes is Dimitri at the moment, so everything looking to go his way. He's got a 10th up, needs to find time in the final sector through Williams and onto the Bentley straight. Looks like on the exit there he's just found a little bit of time through that sector, now 0.14 of a second up on his fastest time. Flat out, there's plenty of clear air around him as well, so no traffic should be impeding this final attempt to improve his position. Into Nelson, into Brundle, through the right-hander, skipping across the curb, doing his best to avoid what is the very sizable sausage curb on the inside there, through the right-hander at Bombhole and towards Coram. He's found plenty more time in this final sector, 2/10 or so. He's losing some of it through this right-hand and into Murray's, the last corner. Get your braking right. And he has seemed to do so. Very controlled end to the lap from Dimitri Schenk. Foot flat to the floor. And where will he improve from? P13 at the moment. Dimitri Schenk crosses the line to improve. Does he? Yes, he improves. Jumps up to P12. So after all of that, only a gain of 1 position for Dimitri, but a very stellar lap right at the end there. But Xander Vale taking pole position, a 1:56.043 for the driver of the 808 Porsche. He'll be joined on the front row by Aaron Martin Pilkington, currently point standings leader. Now, Chris, first GT4 qualifying you've watched on live. Some pretty quick times, but some very close margins between the drivers out there on the grid. What do you think? What do you think of the grid we've got ahead of us? Vale and Martin Pilkington, your top two, with Swarton's Sverring in behind. It's going to be a very close fought race.
It's going to be interesting to the first corner, isn't it? Very close. I must admit, I was rooting for Bart to improve on that lap, but obviously it went a bit haywire towards the end. But you know, it is what it is, and we'll excited to see the start of the race.
It'll certainly be fun to watch it from track side as opposed to potentially watching them get away from you, Chris. How do you feel about that?
Oh. Nash.
I mean, I'm in the same boat, Chris, so it doesn't make a difference. We're 2 people at the back of the grid, it's fine. But so some racing all throughout the grid. That's something we like to see in the GT4s as well, and we see it in the GT3s here at SSRi. Throughout the order, there's plenty of battles to be won, and unfortunately lost. Someone's got to finish behind. So the drivers are on the grid now, making their changes and applying their race setups, making sure they've got enough fuel to go the distance. That is something you've got to be careful of. You don't want to be running out of fuel, needing to conserve, lift and coast in the final few moments. But We haven't seen that so far this season, so hopefully we see form continued. But we have seen a couple of drivers potentially applying the wrong setup and having their quali set up on and needing to pit for fuel. Xander Vale, though, on pole position. I feel like this might be Xander's first pole position in the series. I will be corrected if that is wrong, but it'll be certainly a different challenge for him, leading away with no cars in front of him. And Snetterton, a circuit where you can overtake, but you can also make your car wide enough to defend your position. Chris, how do you think Xander will be feeling then on the front row of the grid? I think this is his first time, definitely this season, first time on pole position. It's a different challenge.
It is, but I think he's very experienced enough to get a pull away from the start. But I think Aaron will certainly give him a good run for his money. We saw that in one of the previous rounds where it was a very close battle between Aaron and Sam for the whole of the first lap, if I remember correctly. So I think he may have his work cut out to defend that position.
Especially from championship leader Aaron Martin Pilkington. And I suppose throw this into the mix. If you are Aaron, Chris, I mean, he's leading the championship. Points to his name is points towards potentially picking up the title in his first season here with the GT4s at SSRi. What would you do in Aaron's shoes? Are you looking to try and take the lead straight away and hopefully run away into the distance, or are you playing a bit more of a conservative game?
I think you've got to play the conservative game, haven't you? But Aaron will probably prove us wrong with that and go on the hunt straight away. Again, you're asking the wrong person. I've never been in that position.
That's three of us.
Yeah, that's three of us. We've got a commentary box full of people who aren't often challenging for championship.
What is it? You can't race commentate?
Do you know what? That is my Twitter bio. So, yeah, no, good stuff. So it's Xander Vale leading around on this formation lap. I need to make sure he keeps the pack nice together and keeps everything in check as he attempts to warm his front tyres. It will be definitely running through his mind that he hasn't got anyone to follow on this lap, and he will be leading the grid across the line to take the green flag. Now Martin Pilkington will certainly have his crosshairs set on the number 808 Porsche. Let's give you a quick run down the order. So it is Vale and Martin Pilkington on the front row. Then it's Danny de Zvoort and Bart Zverink, P3 and P4. The third row consists of Veneer and Jordi Bakker in the number 99 Aston Martin. Then it's Sem Spenkelink in P7 alongside Dennis Berkman. Then we've got Stefan Arvidsson, who's our leading AM class driver in P9, ahead of Tim Krul's number 90 McLaren, who rounds out your top 10. It's Bas van Mellis and Dimitri Schenk, who shared the 6th row ahead of Mike Abrin-Hoser and Arjen Lermans in 13th and 14th. Then we have Frank Hopp's Audi, the number 570, rounding out your top 15 alongside Patrick Tractor's number 313 McLaren. Then it's Danny Herkstra and James Like, who, as we say, has won 3 races in the AM class so far this season, ahead of Jan-Paul Eikelenboom and Nicholas Malott, rounding out your top 20 with Cameron Fife, Denise Pope and Gamicia Catalud in 23rd position. So, rounding the final sector into the right-hander, Nelson. Xander Vale will be forced to slow up and the grid will form up shortly as they head in towards these final few turns. We will be taking the green flag very shortly. A good evening to Frankie Helliwell, who's joined the stream, as well as Oliver Anderson as well. It's great to see so many people actually joining. Hello, welcome along to the race. You've joined at the right time if you have just joined. We are about to go green here at Snetterton. Land Manified cheering on Steph in the hashtag RIP101 garage car. And plenty of you cheering on. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to win this 1 hour race here at Snetterton. Let us know who you are cheering on. It's great to see so many people offering their support in this race from the sidelines. So the grid rounds the final corner at Murray's and they line up 2 by 2 towards the start finish line. We'll be receiving the green flag any second now. Xander Vale will lead away from pole position, but he's got the championship leader alongside Aaron Martin Pilkington in the number 626 BMW. As we await the green flag under starters orders, we will be going green any time now. And the green flag waves and Xander Vale gets a good start, but that BMW of Martin Pilkington is well and truly alongside as they head up to Riches for the first time. And Martin Pilkington takes the lead before they've reached the first corner, swoops around the outside, to claim P1. He leads from in the background, and McLaren goes firing off into the barriers on the outside. It looks like that the number 570 Audi of Frank Hopp was also facing the wrong way, but it is Aaron Martin Pilkington who's got the whole shot as they lead out from the Montreal hairpin and towards Palmer. Then behind is Zander Vale and Danny de Swart's Mercedes, your P3 car, with Bart Zverink holding on to P4. It looks like Sem Spenkelink has managed to work some magic in the opening 2 turns, jumping up the order from P7 to P5 in the Maserati. Is contact between the 2 cars there. Danny de Swart and Zander Vale hitting each other at Agostini, both spinning. Danny de Swart waits up to allow the Porsche driver through, but it's gone from bad to worse. The Zander Vale, who led from pole, beaten into the first corner by Aaron Martin Pilkington, and now facing the wrong way on the exit of the middle sector. A bit of an awkward incident between the 2 of them. The Mercedes driver has dropped well and truly back into the pack, as well as Zander Vale now down into, it looks like, potentially P9. The driver of the 808 is side by side. Bart Zverink looking for a way past Stefan Arvidsson, who's climbed the order in the number 39 Ginetta, heading down towards the left-hander at Brundle. Zverink holds on to P5 as they go into the left and the right. And in front, Sem Spenkelink looking to try and make best his escape. But Chris, an awkward incident there between the Mercedes and the Porsche at Agostini. A case of 2 into 1 never seems to go.
It doesn't, but Danny did the correct thing, as our rule book says, that you wait for the car that you've impeded, but unfortunately it's put him well down the pecking order. He's going to battle back from that, because he's a good driver, is Danny. Up front, you've got Fem's up in 2nd place. If I can see the site, yep.
Yeah,
second now. With Bart right up his backside.
Absolutely, Spenkelink climbing up the order on this first lap, now into P2 as behind. That looks like the Porsche of Peter Vernier skipping across the grass on the exit of Riches. But Bart Zverink is looking for a way past the Maserati that's just managed to climb back past him. So the BMW driver all over the tail of the Maserati as they head into Palmer, looking for a way past. It looks like Spenkelink's just managed to get the exit from the left-hander, and on the run down to Agostini, which is a good overtaking opportunity, Spenkelink holds on to P2. Up the road though, Martin Pilkington is making best his escape. 4.4 seconds now at the lead of the field. The driver of the 626 BMW has done this before. We have seen him take top spot and run away with it in this first half of the race. But there's plenty of racing action still to be had, and plenty of time for it all to come crumbling down. And we'll see how things pan out across the remaining 56.5 minutes. Supporters in the chat as well. Frankie Helliwell cheering on Cameron 5. Landman of 5 really happy to see Arvidsson up into P6. Even better, it's a P4 now, the driver of the 39 Ginetta. He's being challenged by Mike Abrenhoser's number 21 BMW. So 4th and 5th together on track as well, with Peter Vernier behind. And Zander Vale looking to resurrect his race from P7 as they come into this final sector and around the long right-hander at Coram and into the tricky braking zone for Murray's. The car's still turning as you apply the brakes and throw the car into the left-hander, and there's a nasty curb on the inside that can see you completely dislodged and sent on your way to the grass and beyond, as a number of drivers actually do that. And contact there between the BMW of Nicolas Malott and Danny de Swart, and de Swart's going to have to slow up again. Another awkward incident involving the number 57 CBSR Racing Mercedes, but he will take to the side of the track and slow and allow Malott back through. Good sportsmanlike driving from Danny, but 2 incidents in the opening 2 laps of this race have seen him tumble down the order from the podium positions to well outside the top 15. As on this 3rd lap now, Peter Vernier is looking to challenge Mike Abrenhoser, who in turn is looking for a wave past Stefan Arvidsson. And Chris, it's tricky, isn't it? Get into a train of cars like this. Sometimes it's difficult to get back onto your own rhythm. You can find yourself rather following the brake lights of the car in front. Yeah,
you get tunnel vision, don't you? But huge respect to Stefan here. He's driving an extraordinary race for the RIP 101 team. They keep reminding me that I owe them pizza, which is not true. I'd just like to point that out to these people in the chat. They owe me one. But yeah, this race is is going really well for him. Shame for Danny again to be caught up in another incident, but again he's pulled off to the side of the road and let the other car past.
Danny de Swartz attempts to make his mark on the championship. Back-to-back third place finishes at Alton Park and race 1 at Bathurst. He hasn't finished outside the top 5 in the previous 4 rounds. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to put a mammoth stint in over the remaining 54 and a quarter minutes if he's to resurrect this race and score some valuable points towards his efforts in the championship standing. Mike Appenhoser, though, on screen in this number 21 Team Abbey Racing BMW. He's unfortunately seeing Arvidsson disappearing up the road in front of him and is rather gapping Peter Vernier behind, so he's doing his best to hold on to P5 for now as Martin Pilkington continues to set the pace at the top of the timing tower. A 1 minute 56.811 on the previous lap sees his gap extend to 5 seconds over Sem Spenkelink, who's going to be wrestling that Maserati Gran Turismo GT4 around the technical Snetterton 300 layout. We've certainly seen Sem give that car everything in qualifying and in the race, but with no traction control or ABS, that car is certainly a monster you have to learn to tame. Here is the replay of that lap 1 incident. It looks like Xander Vale gets in deep. Danny de Swartz trying to be optimistic, I think, and show the nose to the gap on the inside, and Vale, in an attempt to return to the racing line, finds that the purple and white Mercedes is there, and a tap sends him spinning around on the exit of the tight left-handed hairpin. So a mistake from Vale and then an optimistic move potentially from Danny de Swartz sees the pair dropping down the order. Vale, though, managing to hold on to P7 for now as Appenhoser runs wide out of Williams, and that's allowing Vernier to close up. They are side by side down the Bentley Straight and in towards Brundle, and on the inside Vernier's got the high line, you might think, the high ground, and into the left-hander. He's got his way past the BMW, so Porsche, BMW, Porsche is your positions 5, 6 and 7. Appenhoser will be hoping to fight back as opposed to continue dropping back. He's got Vale behind and Bas van Mellis, so 2 more Porsche Caymans are lining up to make a move. As this man on screen, Aaron Martin Pilkington, is pulling away at the front of the order on that previous lap as well, setting a faster time than Sem Spenkelink. He's managed to gain we're looking at nearly 2 seconds on the last 2 laps. 5.7 is now the gap at the front of the field. And Chris, it's difficult, isn't it? You know, in this position, Martin Pilkington's pulling the gap, he's giving it everything, but there's no one really around him to base his position on. He's got to keep his focus. One mistake, we'll see that lead evaporate.
Yeah, absolutely it will. I'd actually forgot Aaron was in the race because we're focusing on the people behind. There's such close racing. I've got a feeling that Pete Vernier is now going to. Vanya is going to slowly come up to Stefan and take that position away from him. But fingers crossed, Stefan can battle on and keep him behind.
Absolutely, Mark Neuteling's saying Pilkey is in a hurry. It absolutely looks like he is, as he's extended the gap even further. 6.2 seconds now is his lead. Desmond Fitzpatrick as well cheering on Aaron Martin Pilkington. Let's go, Aaron, smashing it, he says in the YouTube chat. So there's plenty of support for the 626 BMW, who looks to have a stranglehold on the race after a little over 9 minutes. It feels like we have plenty of racing already. We've still got a long way to go here at Snetterton, as well as Landmafy asking who leads the AM category championship. That's James Like in the number 114 car. He's currently down in P14 in the Mercedes. He is currently leading the standings 162 points to Bas van Mellis's 136. So those are your leaders in the category at the moment. Here we are with 10 minutes soon to elapse in this race, and Bart Sverink is looking for a way past the Maserati of Sem Spenkelink as they come up to cross the line, as Aaron Martin Pilkington sets another fastest lap. They are side by side into Richards. Spenkelink on the inside actually backs out, lifts off the gas and opts to file in behind Bart Sverink as they head in towards the first corner, and in fact got the run on the exit looking towards the inside. Will he send it up the inside on the brakes? No, backs out of it, so Bart Sverink up to P2 as further behind. In fact, Peter Veneer is being challenged and in fact is putting the move on. Stefan Arvidsson for P4. That could open the door for Mike Abrenhosen. No, Arvidsson able to just slot in behind the Porsche number 34 and hold on to P5 for now. But I wonder if a mistake potentially led to Vanya closing up on Arvidsson. It looked like Arvidsson was fairly comfortable in P4 with a gap of a couple of seconds or so, but that seems to have all gone. So I wonder whether the driver who's owed a couple of pepperonis by Chris Hill is suffered a mistake somewhat on that previous lap. He slips back into P5, 3/10 over Abrenhosen, and Sander Vale in P7, who runs slightly wide there at Oggies. So towards the end of 5 laps, it's Martin Pilkington who still leads the way, and his gap is going out ever more so, 7.4 seconds at the last timing split, and it looks like it could increase as well, 7.9 now. So he's continuing to find time over the chasing pack, but now there's a BMW in second place who'll be looking to reduce that margin. Bart Sverink already starting to gap Sem Spenkling to the tune of 7/10 on this lap alone. As we drop further down the order, Daniel Herkstra in the number 66 Aston Martin going side by side with the recovering Danny de Swart as they go into Brundle and Nelson. Herkstra is going to hold the inside line and keep the position, but in doing so has lost time to Tim Krul's McLaren. So as the two of them fly through the right-hander and into the final sector, as there's a BMW off to the side of the track there. That could be Cameron Fyfe, who was in P12, and oh dear, there looks to be an Aston Martin off the inside as well, potentially Jordi Bakker's car. He's dropped down the order as well. We'll have to get confirmation of that, but it looked like one of the Pulse cars was dropping down. Yes, it does look like the number 99 machine has potentially come to blows with Fyfe's number 13 BMW, those two falling outside the top 20. So another incident impacting the race this evening. As the gap is still going out the front, so Martin Pilkington finding more time over Bart Sverink, 8.2 seconds now. But crucially, the driver of the number 12 is gapping Sem Spenkling, 1.1 seconds now. So he's making his best attempts to solidify that second place, which he has finished in for the previous 3 races in this championship. It's become a regular occurrence to see Martin Pilkington lead a BMW 1-2 with Bart Sverink in second. As it looks like Stefan Arvidsson has lost another position. Mike Abrenhosen now through to P5, Arvidsson down to P6 in the number 39 Ginetta. His race is somewhat going backwards as he tumbles down the order slightly in this opening 15 minutes. As here is the incident with Cameron Fyfe. There's Jordi Bakker looking for a way past as Fyfe skips across the curb on the inside of Nelson. They are now side by side in towards Bombhole, and just the slightest contact from Jordi Bakker on the right rear of Cameron Fyfe as he turns into the cambered right-hander, sees the number 13 BMW spinning off into the grass and having to apply the throttle, spin back round and get going the right way. Both drivers tumbling down the order. Another difficult incident there, Chris, because it's Fyfe will be feeling like he potentially had position on Jordi Bakker, but Jordi was, looking for a move. There was a gap opening up there, and he did have the run into the right-hander.
He did have the run. Unfortunately, you get that minimal. It's normally the minimum contact that causes the most damage. Not damage, but the most spectacular off. Certainly my experience. Just a pity it's happened, but I'm sure they'll both come flying back through. I think it's Cameron's first race with us tonight, so we welcome him with open arms and hope he's enjoying his experience.
I was going to say it's a debut appearance for the driver for the number 13. He will have another look. It looks like they go a slide from Fyfe. This is the moment where Bakker looks to the inside, and then as Fyfe turns in, there is an Aston Martin there, but maybe potentially not far enough alongside. Bakker immediately pulls off to the inside of the track and slows up in an attempt to hand back the position to Fyfe, but unfortunately the damage was done. Both drivers tumbling down the order, and Arvidsson looks to again have lost out. Xander Vale's now through to P6, so as much as Lan Mafai is cheering him on in the chat, come on Steph, pin it, #RIP101, unfortunately it looks like your driver, the number 39, is somewhat going backwards in this opening 15 minutes, now down to P7. Crucially though, he still leads the way in the AM class category, but he's being chased now by Bas van Mellis, who is his competitor in that championship, with Arjen Loermans now in P9 in the number 46 BMW, also of the AM category. So the top 3 in class are all together on track in 7th, 8th and 9th positions, albeit Loermans actually 2.5 seconds back from Arvidsson and Van Mellis. Here's Denise Pope, who has stepped up to the overall championship this season. She put in some stellar races in the most previous season when she was taking part in the AM category. Certainly found form and consistency towards the end of the championship and in the closing stages with the number 79 Wild Things Janetta. She was the runner-up in the championship, in fact, and back-to-back P7s to round out the season. Certainly proved that she had found form. At the moment, though, battling for P13 with Jan Paul Eikelenboom and James Lyke. So a battle in the midfield certainly raging on. There's potentially a mistake from Bart Zverink on a couple of laps ago, or indeed time found by Sem Spenkling. They're now together on track still. And the gap of over a second that Zverink had managed to find has now somewhat been impacted by Spenkling. At the top of the standing still, Martin Pilkington leads the way, nearly 11 seconds over the rest of the field as we head into the first 15 minutes of this 1 hour race have been completed. Danny de Swart's Mercedes looking to climb back up the order. The number 57 car is a spin in front, lucky to avoid a spinning Tim Krul there. The number 90 McLaren 570S facing the wrong way on the exit of Agostini. The Lork driving machine recovering. Doesn't look like he's lost too many positions, in fact potentially only losing out to Danny de Swart in that battle. A strange incident there. Looks like Krul just had a spin on the exit. No contact seemingly involved with the Mercedes driver as he ride on board with Denise Pope, weaving from right to left in an effort to make a move on James Lyke's 114 Mercedes as they head through Brundle into Nelson. And that kind of miscommunication between the pair of them has really allowed Eikelenboom to close up in the number 31, the black and yellow Mercedes behind. So it's now 3 drivers battling for P12 as they head into this final 2 corners here at Snetterton and into the left-hander. Further up the field, Arvidsson looking for a way past Vale, trying to find the position on track. He looked to dive to the inside and cut back in line. Runs slightly wide on the exit of Riches. Again, shows the nose of that number 39 Janetta to the inside. Is in front. Vale goes deep at the Montreal hairpin, runs wide, loses the position to Arvidsson, and so nearly Bas van Mellis is there to take the best opportunity from the situation. So he's not able, though, to make the move. Arvidsson holds on to his position as Vale drops back to P7. So a change of position there. Van Mellis so close to making the move on the Porsche in front as Arvidsson back up to P6. So this battle looks to continue and probably will do so for the rest of the race. Now, Chris, GT4 action, is it tickling your fancy yet? Because, like you say, yet to have a go in one of these cars.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No. Let's see what happens halfway through the race.
I'll ask you again in 11 minutes' time. We'll see where we're at. Denise Pope still in 13th, battling away, looking for a way past James Lyke, who is our leader in the AM category championship. As further back, Danny de Swart looks to make another move. He's side by side with De Visser, a fellow Mercedes, as they head into Williams, and contact behind. Dimitri Schenk and De Visser making contact there through turn 7. That's left Jarno stranded on the inside. The MRW Motorsports car now recovering back to the track surface, getting going once again, but another incident between 2 drivers. It's a shame to see, but it looks like De Visser's managed to recover. It's Bas van Mellis now really has the crosshair set on Arvidsson and is looking to make a move shortly. His Porsche Cayman is tucked up in the slipstream. Previous laps around, Vale a 158.9, Arvidsson 159.1, but of course we did see that slight battle at the Montreal hairpin, as it looks like Van Mellis a 158.9 as well. So Vale and Mellis are close as they really close up, and contact there. Bas van Mellis tapping the rear of Arvidsson, spinning at the Montreal hairpin, with the trio really bunched up on the run in to the tight turn 2, and it looks like the slightest of nudges has seen the Ginetta spun round at the hairpin. So Van Mellis now leaps up to 7th place, in the number 11 car, which is the lead of the AM category race. In P7 now, with Arjen Lerman's number 46 BMW just out of shot there. P2 in class, 7th and 8th though on the road overall. This battle though continues to rage on. Sverink has been unable to dispatch Sem Spenkelink, who's still tucked in the slipstream of the number 12 BMW. This chrome blue Maserati is certainly looks to have the pace to keep up with his BMW competitors, albeit Aaron Martin Pilkington continues to escape up the road. 11.8 seconds now the gap as we near the halfway point of the race, as Spenkelink gets all kinds of sideways on the exit of Nelson.
Really pulled out, sorry to interrupt. Aaron's not really pulled out much more time than I would have expected. So I'm wondering if these two with the battling are actually pulling up to Aaron, or if he's just relaxed a bit.
Was a spin. Sem Spenkelink on the exit of Murray's gets the throttle applied and spins off to the inside, losing crucial time. He manages to keep the foot planted and return to the racing surface, but it looks like he's lot out to Peter Vanier and Mike Abrenhoser in all that. So after trying to make a move on Bart Sverink, he's now tumbled down to P5. As we get a replay of the incident involving Stefan Arvidsson. So in front, the purple Porsche Zandvoort de Velde, then Stefan Arvidsson black and red Ginetta, and the multicoloured Porsche Cayman of Bas van Mellis. It looks like Arvidsson gets caught out by the line in the braking of Zandvoort de Velde. Looks to adjust his line, but then runs in slightly deep, and in the check-up mid-corner, it looks like Van Mellis makes the slightest of contact with the rear of the Ginetta, sending him spinning to the inside. Again, the slightest of touches seems to have quite a dramatic response in this case, as this battle now for the final step of the podium. Peter Vanier going slightly wide on the exit of Agostini. That's allowing Mike Abrenhoser up the inside. So the BMW number 21 takes the final step on the virtual rostrum provisionally, heading into the right-hander at Oggies. These two, though, as much as they want to battle it out, can certainly see Maserati closing in behind. Sem Spenkelink's car not too far down the road. There is a bit of a gap in front, 3.1 seconds to Bart Sverink. Now here is Aaron Martin Pilkington, our race leader, who's somewhat evaded much coverage this evening so far, mainly owing to the fact that he's managed to build a 12.5 second lead over the field and continue on his merry way. A 1 second advantage found on that previous lap as he runs slightly deep there into Murray's, but manages to get the car gathered back up. The number 626 currently leads a BMW 1-2-3 in this race as he crosses the line, and a 1 minute 57.7 certainly isn't his fastest, but it's not being matched by many of his competitors at the moment. Only Peter Vanier and Mike Abrenhoser are able to set comparative lap time, as Ricard Gomicia Calatude in the number 1 Alpine, currently in 11th place, looks to close up on the McLaren of Patrick Tractor in the 313 car. And Ricard actually scored an AM category podium in the first round at Bathurst, so he's certainly got pace to prove in the class. Peter Vanier is looking for a way past, and these two could battle it out all they want. I mean, well, saying that, Sem Spenkelink looks to have made another mistake, dropping back 1.7 seconds. So the driver of the number 2 Maserati is struggling at the moment, as the number 21 BMW and 34 Porsche look to have it out for this final step on the podium as they head into Hamilton and towards Oggies. Vanier running slightly wide over the grass, managing to gather the car up into the tricky right-hander. Then they'll go through Williams and onto the Bentley straight. And hopefully Vanier will be tucked into the slipstream, hoping to gain time on the run down this long stretch towards Brundle and Nelson. And he is. You can barely see the Porsche Cayman behind the BMW M4 there, as they head into the left-hander and apply the brakes harder through the right. It looks like Vanya's managed to gain back time on his BMW rival, but unable to make a move so far as they head into the final couple of corners. Actually, he's looking to the inside. Vanya on the inside of Abramhoser into Coram. He's got the shortest route around the 180-degree right-hander, and by the time they make it to Murray's in the braking zone, he's got through. So the Porsche back up to third place. The final step on the virtual rostrum is currently in Peter Vanier's hands after he's snatched it away from Mike Abramhoser. But already the BMW driver looking to fight back on the run-up towards Riches. But as they fly into the right-handed turn 1, Vanya's Porsche manages to keep ahead. And we see some differences between the performances in these cars. We see how they can, some of them are better in the twisty, some of them are able to put the power down nicely, and some of them just have unmatchable legs on the straights. And those BMWs have been a car this season that have been very quick in a straight line. As it looks like this is Denise Pope and James Light coming in towards Agostini. Denise Pope looks to the inside, but it was a long way back actually, and it looks to have just distracted Light, who runs deep into the left-handed hairpin. And Denise Pope is able to take the position there and slide away up the inside in towards Hamilton's. Great move from Pope. As Light's mistake, he will certainly be ruining, as he's now dropped back down to P13, which is P5. Still holds on to P5 in YAM category on the road this evening. The championship leader, though, will be hoping to pick up a fair few more points in his attempts to hold on to the lead of the championship. Dave Jr. Martin has checked out for sure. It would look that way with now 12.1 seconds at the top of the order. As Team Abbey Racing are in the YouTube chat cheering on Mike Abramhoser, who's currently, well, he was in P3 when he sent the message. Unfortunately, he's down to P4 now. But he's still managing to hold on to Peter Vanya. We'll be looking for a way back through. It's Patrick Tractor battling hard with Stefan Arvidsson, a driver who again will be looking to climb back up the order. Arvidsson's instant with Bas van Mellis. I'm sure there'll be plenty of conversation about following the race, but both getting their heads down and pushing on for now as we near the halfway point of this 1 hour event here at Snetterton. It's running slightly wide. Arvidsson losing time on the exit of Murray's. And Tractor closing in as they run up towards Riches across the timing line. The gap between the two of them 0.268 of a second in towards the right-hander at Riches. Tractor closing up definitely in the slipstream with that Ginetta, which the G55 doesn't seem to have much grunt when it comes to the straight flat-out sections, but once it gets to the more technical parts of the track, I'm sure Arvidsson will be able to find time over his McLaren competitor. And indeed there on the run through the Montreal hairpin and on the exit, it looks like Arvidsson has just managed to pull a car's length or two over the number 313 as they run through Palmer and down towards the hairpin at Agostini. That gap will come back down on the slightly fast section there, the straight towards the left-handed hairpin, but then through the corner Tractor loses out, and indeed on the entry it looked like he was struggling to get the car stopped under the braking. Through Hamilton towards Oggies as further back Danny de Swart continues his charge through the field. He gets past the Mercedes of James Like on the entry, and on the exit to Agostini the move is signed, sealed and delivered. So up to P13 now, Danny de Swart's number 57 CBSR Racing Mercedes. Now next in his sights is the Alpine, Denise Pope actually ahead, the number 79 Ginetta, just skipping through the camera shot there, 2.1 seconds to find as the Mercedes driver looks to kick on. Here we go, riding on board with Denise Pope and looking back over the rear wing. Can see the gap back to Danny de Swart, who already has managed to put a couple of car lengths between himself and James Light as Daniel Herkstra looks for a way past Cameron Fife, who continues to battle on in this race despite being turned round in the opening 10 minutes. He's fighting on, certainly with a point to prove, and in P18 at the moment looks like he can climb further up the order as Tim Krul and Manuel Williams are in pit lane and potentially retired as well. The number 90 McLaren, the number 195 Mercedes look to have stopped as we reach the halfway point. So as we have reached the halfway point, half the race done, half the race to go. Let's run you through the order. It is Aaron Martin Pilkington who leads the way. He's now got 13 seconds over this BMW compatriot of a Bart Sverink in the number 12 card. Then it is Peter Vanya in the number 34 Porsche in third. As skipping wide and off the track go Cameron Fife and Daniel Herkstra, ploughing through the polystyrene boards and sending debris across the track as they run in towards the Montreal hairpin. Fife holds on to P18 for now, but it looks like this battle is set to continue for the rest of the race. I wouldn't be surprised to see tempers flare in these next few laps between the pair of them. Fife in the BMW looking to resurrect his race after being turned earlier on. It looks like he's just managing to get back into a rhythm, but struggling to do so through Agostini, and that's allowing Herkstra to close up. So they're side by side into the left-hander at Hamilton. Herkstra's got the inside line, and Julie swoops through, and Fife attempts to cut back and make best his counter pass on the run in towards Oggies, and Herkstra now runs wide. So they are side by side on the exit of turn 6 and in towards the right-hander at Williams. Herkstra manages to swoop all the way around the outside, and in doing so runs slightly wide off the track, and Fife is back through and holds on to P18. So after all of that, it's still Fife in P18, Herkstra in P19, but to continue the run down the order, it's Peter Vanya in P3 ahead of Mike Abramhoser in P4. Then it's Sem Spenklink in P5 after that mistake on the exit of the final corner has dropped him down the order. Head of Zandervale as Bas van Mellis in P7. That's Arjen Lermans and Stefan Arvidsson. Van Mellis, Lermans and Arvidsson are your podium sitters currently in the AM category. Then it's Patrick Tractors at number 313 McLaren. Rounding out your top 10. And on screen at the moment, Jan Paul Eikelenboom in the Mercedes looking to close up on his fellow Mercedes driver James Lyke. Now we're over the halfway point, so Chris, I can ask you again, GT4 racing tickling your fancy just yet?
Or are you breaking up? I can't hear you. Yeah. I'm starting to get a liking to it. What we did see before then was a typical Scalextric move where as soon as one car goes off, the other car's got to follow it off because you get that surge of power. If you ever remember that from your Scalextric
Absolutely.
days. But there's some good battling going on and some nice clean overtaking manoeuvres along with some, let's say, dubious ones.
Yeah, some unfortunate incidents definitely in the race so far as Jarno de Visser skips across the curb on the inside of Nelson. But in this battle for P3, it would be a maiden appearance on the GT4 podium for either Mike Abramhoser or Peter Vanya. They're battling away, separated by nearly 0.8 of a second at the moment. Peter Vanya's times in comparison to Mike Abramhoser, he's just managing to find a tenth, maybe 0.2. I mean, a couple of laps ago, he even found nearly half a second over the BMW. So Vanya just able to stamp his mark on that final step on the podium. And if anything, they are keeping Bart Sverink within touching distance should the BMW driver make a mistake. A 3.5 second gap back to Vanya and the BMW of Abramhoser would duly evaporate, and it would be a three-way fight for the final steps on the podium. As Danny de Swart continues his climb back up the order now on the back of Gromykia Kalatude's Alpine. In turn, Denise Pope has been caught in P11, so they're all together on track at the moment. The trio flying into the right-hander at Riches. A bit of a slide for the Alpine, and that's presenting an opportunity for Danny de Swart, who looks to the inside and licks the stamp and send it, but gets the job done. No contact so far between the Mercedes and the Alpine as they run out of the Montreal hairpin. Job done for the CBSR racing driver. He's through and up to P12 as Denise Pope looks to do her best to just scamper away into the distance as the two ran side by side and cost each other time. With 25 minutes and 20 seconds to go, Pope was very late on the brakes. Danny de Swart there. I wonder if he got caught off guard, but he slides wide and off into the grass, and all that hard work has been undone in a very strange incident there into the Agostini hairpin. Danny de Swart back on track though. All that hard work lost in the blink of an eye. Really caught me off guard there, seeing the purple and white Mercedes flash past the rearward facing camera on Denise Pope's Ginetta. This race has certainly been a tumultuous one for De Swart. The driver of the 57 will be hoping that he can keep it clean now for the remaining 24 minutes of this race. As they head down the Bentley Straight and towards Brundle as Nelson is behind. I was about to say, look like the Mercedes of James Light weaving on track ahead of Jan Paul Eikelenboom, and then it's Frank Kopp, who I'm sure we saw facing the wrong way turn 1, lap 1. In P16 has climbed his way back up the order to now be challenging for a spot inside the top 15. 23 drivers, I believe, still out on track and racing as we're well into the final third of the race. No, sorry, nearing the final third of the race. A slight mistake though from Frank Kopp. And Chris, getting to this point of the race, you've worked out who it is you're fighting with, you worked out your position on track. It's now getting down to the nitty gritty, isn't it? But crucially, tyres start to maybe just give up a little bit of life, and you're starting to pick up a track limits warning here or there. There's plenty of management to see yourself through to the checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also get into that phase of the race where you're tired and you start losing concentration. So I'm wondering when Danny came up towards the back of Denise then and surprised us all, whether he had one of those moments where you sometimes forget where you are on the track and it's a different corner than you expect. Happens to all of us, I'm afraid.
Like you were saying, following the traffic is easy to do, isn't it? You can get yourself lost in the rhythm of the car in front, but if you're locked in a battle like this, it's important to get out of that, isn't it? As we see Frank Kopp unfortunately getting himself out of the battle by running wide into Oggies and dropping off the rear bumper of Eikelenboom's Mercedes. Gonna have a replay here. This is Cameron 5 heading towards Bomb Hole into the third to last corner. Just slipping and sliding wide, catches the slide one way, catches it the other. Unfortunately, the track runs out and he finds himself in the grass. A little bit of rallycross action from the number 13. He gets the car back on track, manages to keep it facing the right way. Very impressive stuff from 5. I'm sure would have been arm over arm inside the virtual cockpit to keep facing the right way. Sarah Martin Pilkington. Yeah, absolutely. Change of pants potentially needed at the end of this one. For Mr. Fife, who continues to battle on in P19. As here we go, Aaron Martin Pilkington dealing with the traffic, and now has made his way past Daniel Herkstra, I believe, in the number 66 Aston Martin. Been a stellar performance so far, hasn't it, Chris, from Aaron? But he's got to keep his focus, hasn't he? Because with 21 minutes to go, there's still time for things to go wrong.
There's always time for things to go wrong, always, unfortunately. It's still very dominant of him though. 14.5 second lead over Bart. I think that's only growing. I don't think it's shrunk at all.
Yeah, confirmation. In fact, finding 9/10 on lap 17, 7/10 on lap 18. In fact, the last lap was I believe the first time in this race so far that Aaron Martin Pilkington has lost time to Bart Sverring, so the gap coming down by 0.4 of a second. Wondering though whether the driver of the 626, our championship leader, is just starting to manage the race as we head into the final third here at Snetterton. BMW looks in fine form and in a very good position, a good operating window at the moment. Looks in complete control. Does Martin Pilkington of the M4 underneath him as he flies up to Riches and into the right-hander at turn 1 to start, I believe, the 21st lap of the Snetterton circuit, and into the hairpin at Montreal. All in control as Danny De Swart on screen now has his crosshairs on Denise Pope. Managed to chip away at that 2-second gap down to 7/10 now. De Swart will be hoping to make a clean move this time. He's seen his race impeded on a number of occasions through incidents throughout this race. He'll hope for a clean run through and past the Ginetta. A battle for position though, and Denise Pope will be hoping to hold on to P11. Some good points will be going to her name if she can do so. Head up towards Riches, and De Swart closes up on the brakes. A slight error, potentially a slide there from Pope mid-corner. Sees her run wide and lose some time as she adjusts her line. Then DeSwart looks to the inside but can't quite make the move. But in showing his nose is just attempting to distract the driver of the Ginetta.
Just look at this view, it looks like a dodgem.
It does, doesn't it? It looks like it should be connected. It isn't, but it looks like it should be connected to the wire meshing above, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Quite appropriate for Danny.
Yeah, the Ginetta's definitely got handling like a dodgem as well. It can seemingly turn on the spot, does the G55. Danny DeSwart has very much closed up through this middle sector. And the CBSR Racing Mercedes is looking bigger than ever in the rear mirror for Denise Pope as they head through Oggies and towards Williams. Danny will definitely have the advantage in a straight line down the Bentley straight. And as Denise Pope runs a slightly awkward line there through the middle of the corner, looks like she caught some understeer there. DeSwart's up the inside, they are side by side, flat out down the Bentley straight. DeSwart on the inside has the high ground into the first part of this complex here at Brundle and Nelson, and he slips on through, gains the position. DeSwart up to P11. Don't think Pope fought that one too hard. Heads up driving from the number 79 Ginetta to just let the Mercedes go and live to fight another day. The Alpine of Calatoyuge is facing the wrong way on the exit of Nelson. The number 1 Alpine spins around rather elegantly on the spot and gets facing the right direction and continues on and drop them down the order. I believe that like Ike Ellenboom and Frank Hopp have managed to make their way through in all of that. So now Danny DeSwart, he might have made the pass on Denise Pope, but unfortunately it's a 10.5 second gap up to Stefan Arvidsson, who's currently in P10. Plenty of time still to go, but he'll need to get a shimmy shake on if he's going to catch up to the number 39 Ginetta. So meanwhile at the top of the standings it is still Aaron Martin Pilkington who leads away from Bart Sverring as we head into the final 17.5 minutes of this race. As in the chat, Jarno Catchin from Heidenai Swerai, going to give that a go, but it's probably wrong. Apologies for getting your name very wrong, I'm sure I have done, but Jarno is catching, he's pushing on 10.0 seconds down on Jordi Bakker in P22, attempting to close up and take the spot off the Aston Martin. It's going to be a tricky one to do so though in the final 17 minutes, sorry. As here on screen, Jan-Paul Eichenboom makes away past James Lyke, who ran wide into Oggies. The Mercedes swapping positions into Williams. Kellenboom gets the job done as James Lyke tucks into the slipstream down the Bentley straight and will be trying to make a move back past as they come up towards Brundle. Lyke looks to the inside. Will he send it late on the brakes? He does. They are side by side then into the left-hander. Mike Ellenboom swoops around the outside, which becomes the inside for Nelson, and he holds on to the position, but on the exit it looks like Lyke's got a good run and nearly gets up the inside in towards the bomb hole, but opts to just dip out of that one and continue on his merry way in P14 behind the Mercedes. This quartet of cars together on track now. Ike Ellenboom, Lyke, Hopp and Dimitri Schenk has closed up as the battle continues out of Murray's onto the start-finish straight and the long run towards Riches, the slight climb towards turn 1. Lyke's on the outside now. Kellenboom defending to the inside as they go into the right-hander. Can Lyke swoop around the outside? There is room to do it. He's out on the marbles though, but looks to be in control. They are still side by side. Lyke cuts to the inside in an attempt to make a dive bomb up towards the Montreal hairpin, but can't get the job done. Kellenboom holds on to the position for now, but all of this is allowing Frank Hopp and Dimitri Schenk to close in, and they're rather licking their lips and waiting for the fireworks to go off in front to benefit from the drama between the two Mercedes drivers. As on the exit of Palmer, looks like Lyke made a slight mistake, and Hopp's now looking towards the inside into Agostini. Can't get the job done though on the brakes, and in fact Lyke is able to just close the door and continue on. So Dimitri Schenk behind runs slightly wide, kicks up the dust, as he runs wide on the exit of the left-handed hairpin. This battle is for P13, 14, 15 and 16. all together on track and all fighting for some valuable points in their individual championships as we reach the nearing the halfway stage of the season. From the sunny Snetterton, we will head into what promises to be an exciting run-in for the championship as we'll go towards Brands Hatch, where we'll have our second double-header race evening. The British circuit hosting two 30-minute races, then Laguna Seca and Zolder before we head to the rescheduled finale at Monza. It was meant to be the first race of the season, but unfortunately due to some server issues we've had it pushed back, so the final on the 11th of January will see our GT4 championship hopefully decided. Fingers crossed it goes down to that final race at the Temple of Speed in Milan. I'm riding aboard with Frank Hopp, the Audi, looking to close back up on James Like, who looks to have just pulled a few tenths in that end to the lap as they head up towards the Montreal hairpin. Into the right-hander. Hopp closes up a lot on the brakes, it seems to be, just because he's running slightly wide there. A good car's width or so away from the inside line. Manages to gather it up though. Hasn't lost too much time to Light as they finish the final sector through Palmer and towards Agostini. As it looks like Peter Vanier is actually managing just to find some good time in this second half of the race. 2-second gap now between Sverink and the driver of number 34 Porsche in the battle for second place, as Vanier's number 34 car has managed to pull a gap 3.1 seconds now over Mike Abrenhoser. So that final podium spot is looking more and more certain with every passing lap, but still plenty of time still to be had. Sem Spenkelink now in 5th place ahead of Zandevale and Bas van Mellis in P7. As here is Cameron Fyfe in the BMW, the number 13. His first race in this championship, and in front of him he's finding a car that looks very similar to him. It's Nicholas Malot's number 22 BMW. They're battling out on track for P18 as they head down towards Brundle and Nelson through the left-hander, which is somewhat of the braking zone for the 90-degree right. And now into this final sector, long right-hander skip through the camber of the bomb hole and towards Coram. The long right-hander has seen plenty of racing action through the years, particularly touring cars. Battles between the likes of Jason Plato and Matt Neal as they fly through and in towards Murray's, and getting out of shape in front is Nicholas Malot, who gathers it up on the exit, but that is not without allowing Cameron Fyfe to the left-hand side of it as they run side by side. Aerial camera showing them as they cross the line. Malot on the inside, Fyfe on the outside. Can Fyfe go the long way around? He's certainly going to give it a go. In fact, on the entry to the corner, he tries to check up and get the cut back through Riches, but unsuccessfully. Malot holds on to the position. Fyfe has to opt to settle for P19 and try and find another way through. So around Montreal and up towards the left-hander at Palmer. There's a comment in the chat from Music Q. Man T1 was a major F. Apologies to hear that. I wonder if you were involved. I don't quite recognise your name from your tag, so let us know if that was your race. Unfortunately, yes, my race was done and dusted there. Well, a shame to see that. Sometimes T1 can't win your race in the first corner, you certainly lose it, unfortunately. Shame to see your race ended. Hopefully see you back fighting. It's Mr. T Kroll. Thank you very much for informing me. Apologies for not knowing your tag there. Thank you very much for dropping by after your race. As we see side by side, Frank Hopp and James Like. Is the BMW, the Audi going to get through? Sorry, yes, he has done. He's got past James Like on the run down towards Brundle. Pass is made. 570, position gained. P14. And now Dmitry Schenk will be looking to pounce on the opportunity, and potentially Like, who's disheartened from the pass. Schenk now gaining time all over the back of his fellow Mercedes driver. Stubborn Hour Racing number 8 machine unable to size up a pass in the preceding two corners. With 10 minutes to go, this race is nearing its close. Aaron Martin Pilkington still holds a 16.9 second gap over fellow BMW driver Bart Sverink, with Peter Vanier in P3. But further down the order, this battle is well and truly alive with Hot Like Schenk, and now the Alpine of Kalataoud has caught back up. So 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th all together on the road, all in the camera shot on your screen. So fighting away and continuing to battle on Cameron Fife and Nicholas Malott as they head in towards the Montreal hairpin. Get the feeling that Fife's got the pace. He just needs to make this move and make it stick in the final 10 minutes of the race, and P18 will be his at the checkered flag. As they round Palmer, Fife will be lining up to make a move, I'm sure of it. As Dimitri Schenk is having to attack and defend at the same time. Now, Chris, it's difficult enough lapping quickly. Well, here we go. That is the attempted move from Cameron Fife. Lick the stamp and send it up the inside into Agostini. But unfortunately, it's all become undone on the exit of the corner as he went in a bit too deep. Malott skips back through, holds on to P18. But Fife certainly attempting to make the move. But as I was about to say, Chris, it's difficult enough keeping the pace across the hour, but trying to attack or potentially defend at the same time, plenty to deal with in this final 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes is where you start getting very nervous. As we see a move with... I can't pronounce his name, sorry.
The Alpine.
Yeah, we'll go with the Alpine, overtake Dimitri there, and gain another place. Apologies for that. But yeah, this is where your race starts either building or unwinding. Again, as time goes by, you're getting more and more weary. You're thinking, I need to make the move now to capitalise, and sometimes they come off and sometimes they don't.
As we see, Cameron Fife is definitely trying his best to make the pass. On the splitter cam here, tucked in the slipstream of the number 22 BMW in front, who goes to the inside. So Malott on the inside. Fife again is going to try the long way around at Riches. They are side by side. Again, Fife tries to just cut back and get the run in towards Montreal, potentially trying to catch a slide on the marbles and the dirty line on the outside of the circuit there, able to gather it back up. But feel like that's not his best chance to make a spot. He'd probably be better just running in behind Malott through there and trying to set the move up into Montreal as opposed to running alongside and impeding his line. But there's a reason why I'm in the virtual commentary box and not out there on track as they head in towards Agostini, where he tried to make the move on the previous lap but just running in too deep. Saw Malott pass back on the inside and hold on to P18, but these two BMWs are certainly scrapping it out hard for P18 in the standings as they come in towards Oggies, and the right-hander leads into Williams. Easy to just dip a wheel in the grass, as we saw from Malott there, as the Alpine of Kalataoud is looking to make a way past James Lyke. Dives to the inside, but without the slipstream, unable to continue that momentum past the 114, as side by side in towards Brundle. Fife cuts to the inside but can't get the job done. Malott swoops around the outside to hold on to P18, but Fife is really giving it everything to make this move and make it stick in the final 6.25 minutes here at Snetterton. There's battles all over the track. This is a fight for P18 in set. Picture in picture, you can see the fight for P15, so it seems like in this midfield there's plenty of battles still to be won or lost. Fife now tucked into the slipstream on the exit of Murray's will be looking to make the move as again the Alpine of Kalataoud to the inside of James Lyke's Mercedes, but can't get the job done. This is the fight for P5 in the AM category, as again Fife tries around the outside. He's going to opt to file back in line and try and get the run through the exit of Riches. There's now to the inside. Dimitri Schenk makes the pass on the Alpine, the number one car, and gets the job done. They are side by side though into Palmer. Schenk's going to have to go the long way round, unable to hold on to the spot. Halfway there, Dimitri nearly had the move signed, sealed and delivered. As further behind, Fife still can't find a way past Malott and actually skips across the grass in the back of shot there on the exit of Palmer. He's giving it absolutely everything to make this pass on Nicholas Malott in the final 5 minutes. As Kalatu really pushing hard in the Alpine. Now this is a fight on track as well. It is Sem Spenkelink. I was going to say it's been a pass. Bas van Melis has got the job done on Sem Spenkelink for P6, and it looks like there must have been a mistake from Sem, who was up in P5 I believe before this lap started. So Sem Spenkelink has dropped down the order, allowing both Vale and Bas van Melis through. Maserati proving tricky to deal with around the Snetterton circuit. We've seen a couple of mistakes from Seb so far this race. Now he's going to have to find his way back past Van Melis if he is to take P6. As Kalatu still fighting away with James Lyke, wants to get the move done. Patrick Tractor on screen, tucked into the slipstream with Danny de Swart. But de Swart is continuing his climb up the order. He's now in P9, so inside the top 10, and considering the race that Danny has had, I'm sure he'll be seeing the silver lining of his event at Snetterton this evening, as the Alpine tucks to the inside. Kazi got the overlap on James Lyke as they head in towards Richards. There is contact between the pair of them. Lyke turns in, the Alpine's there, and they make side to side contact. That spins Ricard to the inside, and Lyke manages to continue on, holding on. As always, the Alpine rejoins there, and Fife, unsighted, clatters the rear wing of the number 1 car. Unfortunately, that sends both of them off the track. Looks like Fife has managed to continue on, but I'm sure he'll be carrying front end damage. And his attempts to make it past Nicolas Malott have been well and truly undone there, as Kalatu was just rejoining the circuit, and unfortunately onto the racing line. See Fife just come flying round the fast right-hander at Richards, unable to make and take avoiding action. A shame to see 2 races really damaged heavily in the final 3 minutes of the race here at Snetterton, as Dimitri Schenk is looking to the outside of James Lyke but can't get the move done, and start to wonder with Fife whether the yellow flags on screen, whether a warning would have just maybe seen him take a slightly more hesitant approach to T1, but a sideways Alpine or a car making its move to rejoin onto the track surface, certainly difficult to spot when you're busy enough as it is trying to throw the car through the first corner, and especially if you're Cameron Fife and you're looking to find a way past Malott. You're giving it absolutely everything in this final few laps. On screen though, we've got this battle between Lyke and Schenk for what is P15 on the road, P5 in the AM category, but in set, picture in picture, that is our race leader, Aaron Martin Pilkington, who spent much of the race, if not the entirety of his race, on his own. The only cars he's seen has been traffic that he's been putting a lap on. In fact, he's managed to get all the way up to the top 20, I believe. 20th position is the highest car that has been lapped. That's Jordi Bakker in the number 99 Aston Martin. And as Martin Pilkington rounds Nelson into the final sector, this will be the penultimate lap, so there'll be one more time round here at Snetterton before Martin Pilkington takes what's been a dominant victory again in GT4 competition, and it will be his 4th win of the season, really placing a stranglehold on the championship standings as Schenk and Lyke continue to fight away. Lyke is our AM category leader in the points, as Schenk looks for a way through on the inside but can't quite get the job done on the run down towards Agostini as they come out of the left-hander and towards Hamilton and Oggies. And Lyke is certainly giving it absolutely everything to hold on to the P15 spot into this tricky technical section. The 2 right-handers at Oggie and Williams have 2 very different profiles. It's easy just to run out and across the grass, not much curb or matting or any sort of asphalt to allow you to utilise track limits. And as we see there, Schenk just getting a slide on through the right-hander and onto the back straight, the Bentley straight. But in picture though, well, Chris, he's been the man of the proceedings this evening, hasn't he, Aaron Martin Pilkington? It's been a really dominant performance. He's got half a lap to go. Get the feeling that he'll be smiling away inside the virtual cockpit.
Well, he asked me at the start of the race what he would do. He's run away with it, really, hasn't he? He's not been challenged at all. Not even into the first corner, really. My memory doesn't go that far back, unfortunately, so I'm just guessing there. But it's a dominant victory, a 16-second lead and as you say, he's lapped up to 20th place, I believe. So fantastic race.
Exactly, it's been his race from the drop of the green flag. Aaron Martin Pilkington now only 2 more corners to go, and he will be picking up his 4th win of the season. It's been a stellar performance from the rookie to this championship, but certainly a driver who's known for his speed and his ruthless driving out there on track. But once again, he has seen any challenge off, and if any challenge at all. He made his way past Sander Vale at turn 1, and the competition hasn't seen him since. Aaron Martin Pilkington collects the checkered flag at Snetterton to win round 5 of the SSRi GT4 Season 3. He leads Bart Zverink across the line, who was chased hard actually by Peter Vanya in the closing moments. A gap between the pair of them, 1.4 seconds. Mike Abramhoser here in the number 21 BMW will cross the line to take a stellar 4th place ahead of Sander Vale, who was our pole sitter, who unfortunately dropped back in the early laps but fights through to P5. Then it's Bas van Mellis, who will cross the line in P6 on the road, but he will take an AM category win here at the Snetterton circuit, adding that to his podiums in the class at Alton Park and at Bathurst Race 1. He crosses the line 9.4 seconds behind Sander Vale. Then it's Arjen Lermans in 7th, who takes 2nd place in the AM category as well, ahead of Sem Spenkelink, who in all of that drops down to 8th place in the number 2 Maserati, ahead of Danny de Swart, who rather resurrects his race to take P10 ahead of Patrick Tractor's number 313 McLaren. Then it's Denise Pope in P12 ahead of Jan-Paul Eikelenboom, who holds on to P13, with Frank Hopp flashing the lights as he crosses the line. A very hard fought P14 ahead of James Lyke and Dimitri Schenk. The 8-wheeled Mercedes crosses the line P15 and 16. So, Chris, as always, battles throughout the order. Okay, maybe not for the victory with Aaron Martin Pilkington scampering away at the top of the proceedings, but some thrilling racing throughout the pack there in the GT4 action.
Very close racing, and some incidents, as always happens in these type of races. There was a comment within the chat about Orchestra should get track limit flags. Well, it is controlled by the game, and if people have exceeded the track limits too many times, they get a drive-through, which unfortunately happened to Sem at the last race. But yeah, very close racing with some guys. Fantastic result for Aaron.
Indeed, well, some support in the chat for Bas van Mellis. Great race, Bas, from Marioka. Well, of course, it was a really strong performance from Bas in that brilliantly multicoloured Porsche. Here's a replay of the start, and you can just see cars firing off left and right. I believe that's the Porsche of Dennis Verkman getting back on track, but a few cars unfortunately having their races heavily impeded or undone at the first corner. Now, I'm delighted to say we are joined in the virtual commentary box by our race winner. It's Aaron Martin Pilkington. Aaron, your 4th race win this season. It looks like you've got a stranglehold on the championship. How was your event this evening? I mean, it looks, besides potentially not getting pole position, that's the only mark against your name in what was a perfect evening at Snetterton.
It was plain sailing, really. I really got a good start, which was key at Snetterton. I was pretty miffed that I didn't get the fastest lap. I was really going for it, but fair play. It was nice to see, like, I think it was Vanya and the Porsche take pole position. And I thought it was going to be a really good race. And I really don't know what happened at the start after the first couple of laps, but for me it was just about keeping those tyres safe. And so I try to do my best. I give myself a little bit of a challenge with my lap times, but it's just about maintaining those tyres, and that's what I ended up doing in the end.
Well, we've spoken to you across this season about managing the tyres. Where does Snetterton rank then as a circuit in terms of managing the rubber across the race? There's a few curbs here that you use, a few that you avoid as well, but nonetheless a technical and some tricky corners. The penultimate turn at Coram, a very fast right-hander, 180 degrees. It must leave the front left crying out for a break on the end of the lap.
You're absolutely right there, Tim. Really, most of the corners that populate this track have a deadly curb, and yeah, the optimum line is to straddle over those curbs and to maximise the lines and maximise the corner exits, but you really just don't want to do that. And it came to a point where I was looking at the splits between me and Zerink in second place, and I'm just assuming that he was pushing so hard that his tyres must have been absolutely knackered, because I just kept maintaining the same lap time where he must have been struggling on those tyres.
Absolutely, and we go into now the second half really of this season. Eyes must be firmly set on the championship with the wins against your, to your name, with the points lead you have. Are you going to be pushing just as hard as ever, or will you be maybe playing the safe game to make sure you get the points and pick up the prize at the end of the season?
I mean, is there any other way, really? Like, I never come into a race half-hearted, and and it's Brands Hatch next week, so we're back to the 2 30-minute races, I believe. So that's going to be absolutely cracking, regardless of what the weather is going to be there. I love Brands Hatch, and never driven the BMW around there, so that's going to be a learning experience, but I really enjoyed it in the Ginetta. And the championship itself, I'm not even looking... It's nice to be gaining points, but I'm not looking at it as a total. I'm just taking it race by race. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying this championship.
Well, congratulations on your result this evening, Aaron. A dominant performance. Look forward to seeing you next time out at Brands Hatch.
Thank you very much, Tim.
Go over to our second place finisher, Bart Zwerink. Bart, another strong performance from you. I believe that is your fourth P2 finish in a row. Consistency is great, but you must be feeling that one day you just want to get that win and take P1 home.
Yeah, this was a win for me this time. I was struggling whole race. It was kind of a mess. First lap I made a mistake, brake way too late. Sam passed me. Could overtake him, fortunately, but yeah, I was managing the tires, just what Aaron was saying. And at the end of the race, my teammate Peter came close, and because I was maybe not pushing enough, trying to preserve the tires a little bit too much, and then he came a little bit too close, so I had to push again, and could keep him on a bit of a distance, but I was struggling at the end. It was not my circuit. First time racing here, and I guess last time as well.
Well, it's good to hear that you certainly enjoyed pushing the BMW around this circuit despite its difficulties nonetheless. Yeah. But like we say, consistency, you're getting a lot of points against your name. You're the closest challenger to Aaron Martin Pilkington in the championship. What do you think it's going to take for you to A, get that race victory, and B, start closing that gap?
To punt him out of corner 1. That's the... No, I don't
remember that.
No, I won't. But yeah, he's too consistent for me. I can drive the fast laps. In the qualifying this time, it was already a mess. I could not get one complete lap. If I had it, I screwed it up in the last corner or in the first corner or something. Yeah, in the whole race it was the same. So I need to work on my consistency to get closer to Aaron.
Well, congratulations anyway. Another podium finish this season, and fingers crossed to go and one better next time at Brands Hatch.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll go over to Baz van Mellis, P6 for you, Baz, in another exciting race in the multicoloured Porsche Cayman, and as well, P6 meant victory in the AM category. You must be pleased with your performance tonight.
Yeah, very pleased. I hate Snetterton like nothing else. It's by far my favorite circuit. But I had quite a consistent race. At first I could follow Sander and Stefan, and unfortunately I had some contact with Stefan, but I was unable to avoid him. And after that I had Arjan Loermans, who was on my back. But I was losing out in Sector 1, and then in Sector 2 and 3 I could pull away every lap. And in the end, a great finish, so can't complain.
And with some strong performances to your name, I mean, looking at the results, a P3 in category at Alton Park and a second place finish in category at Bathurst, but both coming inside the top 15. how are you finding your performances this season? Do you feel you're gathering momentum? A strong performance as well tonight, P6 overall. You must be pleased with a slight change in form after Hungary.
Yeah. Hungary was unfortunate. I had a one track cut too many, but well, those things happen, and I'm happy with my performance in my first season in GT4. So like I said, can't complain.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations on your result tonight, Baz. Thank you very much for joining us post-race.
Thank you. And
our final driver in the booth, Stefan Arvidsson. Stefan, you've certainly been getting a lot of support in the chat. Super Steph is being cheered out in the comments at the moment. But your race this evening was a bit up and down. How was it for you at Snetterton?
First of all, fucking awesome. Sorry for the language. And then very frustrating at the same time. So a bit of everything right now.
It was a strong qualifying for you, and then you seemed to just bounce yo-yo almost up and down the order. Did you struggle to find rhythm here across the hour?
Yeah, I mean, like Baz said, we had a bit of contact, and after that, I was just it was hard focusing to get it back into the groove, and yeah. So the pace was like a couple seconds off most of all. So yeah, could have been.
Yes, of course. It often is that feeling. And do you enjoy Snetterton? Hearing from a couple of the drivers that it might not be their favourite. Where's it ranked for you?
Well, surprisingly high. I wasn't aware of that before I started training on it, to be fair, because I've heard a lot of trash about it. So I was like, oh, okay, it's one of those tracks. But then I actually got to drive it and was like, okay, it suits the genetic quite well, actually. So, and maybe also me, sometimes, at least.
Well, going on to Brands Hatch for the next 2 rounds, how do you feel the Ginetta will go there? Is it an opportunity for you to pick up some big points?
Well, like this time of year, it might be rain, so it could be fun to slide around in the Ginetta a bit. We've done that before, so I think on a good day, and the British tracks and the Ginetta, yeah, it's a good combo.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations on making it through to the checkered flag tonight in what was a bit of an up and down race in P11, and I think you've got some autographs to go and sign. There's plenty of support for you in the YouTube chat. Always good to see. Congratulations, Stefan.
Cheers. Good work.
Thank you very much. Well, Chris, great to hear from the drivers as ever post race. You get some great comments from the guys that they are struggling here. Maybe they've pushed too hard. Maybe there was an incident that decided their race. But it's great to see that Aaron Martin Pilkington, even though he's got quite a grip on the championship, is going to give it absolutely everything, 100% or nothing, in the final few rounds.
It's going to be exciting to watch, isn't it? I'll stay tuned. Don't think I'll be joining you again after all the pressure you put me under. But
you've been a fantastic super sub, Chris. Thank you very much.
We very much enjoyed having you on board, Chris. But yeah, it's some thrilling racing, I suppose. For the final time of asking, are you going to give the GT4s a go?
Not this season. I'm not committing to anything.
No, I just mean in your spare time, give it a go. You seem pretty, downright not to even give a BMW or something a little 12 round Brands Hatch or Donington Park.
I'll give it a go. I'll give it a try somewhere.
The report on my desk on Thursday morning, please. Thank you very much.
One 4-letter word.
Brilliant stuff. Anyway,
thank you very much.
Yeah, Chris, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you on board, and I hope you enjoyed watching the racing. Thank you very much as well to Steve Browdy for pushing through a bout of illness to bring us the cameras here for this round 5 of Season 3 GT4 action here at Snetterton. It's been a rather dominant performance from Aaron Martin Pilkington in the 626 BMW. His stranglehold on the championship will rage on to Brands Hatch, and with a driver in such fine form, willing to give it absolutely everything for the rest of the season, it's going to be a case of who can catch him. We look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, thank you very much for joining us, and good night.